joints right here, man, that you play when you feeling down on your ism, right? Play this shit right here, resuscitate your pimpin' and get you right back on your mission, right? For you hoes, this that shit you play when you ain't feeling like super hoe today. Play this shit right here and spark up your hoeing and get you right back going, you dig? Dig this. Pimps for real, don't mistake it for fashion. The turf that birthed my reputation for mashing was the track with active, attractive hoes. Professional goers that attract the dough. Like magnets to metal, never settle. We scorching them fag bitches pedal for them portions. My whores win it all. Not the ones on the sideline wishing but didn't ball in the guidelines. My bitches did it all. Down 7 below in the snow for dough. Over 120 in the sun for fun. They mash for hours, hooker baths, not showers. Bright and early, down and dirty for the cash and power. They gotta get the cash, the towers, and reach it all to a pimp. In my position, I'm all but exempt. These bras not wimps, I'm like them renegade bitches. BFFs with tricks but never getting paid riches. Grenade bitches, they dynamite, blowing up on the pimpin' and missing when the time is right. But when they life gets strife, they see pimpin' shining bright, but they action is life without. Bitch, one strike you out. Can't stop, won't stop, poppin' pimpin' nigga. Can't stop, won't stop, smashing on these bitches nigga. Can't stop, won't stop, poppin' pimpin' nigga. Can't stop, won't stop, smashing on these bitches nigga. Can't stop, won't stop, poppin' pimpin' nigga. Can't stop, won't stop, smashing on these bitches nigga. Can't stop, won't stop, poppin' pimpin' nigga. Can't stop, won't stop, smashing on these bitches nigga. See, that's the difference nigga. The pimpin' mashin' for these riches nigga. Nothing like you master magician niggas. Smoking mirrors with your game, hella extras to reflect the opposite appearance of a lame. Bitches coming from y'all, I can't rock with those. Tender-footed and rooted in them doctor shows. Soft shoe rituals, minute residuals. Papers on life support, your loot's and critical. Something I learned about when running my earn route and working with turnouts is murdering burnouts. Cause knocking one of you niggas for a scarred bitch, that's knocking one of you niggas for some garbage. I'm heartless regardless, empty with sympathy, but banked up to the max with pimpathy. No remedy for me, I'm like this. My life is vice grip, synced in permanent ink. You can't rewrite this. My blood type is P positive, beautifully deposited with a lot of it. I'm popping this shit, and when I pop it so hard I make a trapping ass bad bitch wanna hoe hard. Can't stop, won't stop, poppin' pimpin' nigga. Can't stop, won't stop, smashing on these bitches nigga. Can't stop, won't stop, poppin' pimpin' nigga. Can't stop, won't stop, smashing on these bitches nigga. Can't stop, won't stop, poppin' pimpin' nigga. Can't stop, won't stop, smashing on these bitches nigga. Can't stop, won't stop, poppin' pimpin' nigga. Can't stop, won't stop, smashing on these bitches nigga. Come on pimpin' man, pop that shit. Show these sucker niggas they can't stop that shit. Let these hookers know if they wanna cop that shit. Treat the bag like it's hot, bitch, and drop that shit. And to you hoes, if you ever took a loss, bitch, show these bitches how to bounce back like a boss, bitch. Let them know that the best way to floss, bitch, is reach that paper to some pimpin' hoe and toss it. Can't stop, won't stop, poppin' pimpin' nigga. Can't stop, won't stop, smashing on these bitches nigga. Can't stop, won't stop, poppin' pimpin' nigga. Can't stop, won't stop, smashing on these bitches nigga. Can't stop, won't stop, poppin' pimpin' nigga. Can't stop, won't stop, smashing on these bitches nigga. Can't stop, won't stop, poppin' pimpin' nigga. Can't stop, won't stop, smashing on these bitches nigga. Yeah, man, we up in here, man. Y'all already know what to do. Wipe your feet off at the door when you step into a pimp's domain. Hit that like button. And y'all already know my first order of business. Gots to hydrate my game, put some love in my body. You dig? Pimp feeling excellent, man. Just got back from the gymnasium. In there getting real physical with the weights, you dig? In that ab wheel. Yeah, man. In there getting physical, man, getting active. Yeah, man, wipe y'all feet off at the door, man. Hit that like button. Cheers to the game. We gonna get right into this game, man. Now, you know, it's a lot of people that say a lot of things, man. And, I would imagine that as a man, to the men that's in attendance right now, a lot of you would like to be, distinguished men. Men that, you know how to separate yourself from the rest of men, right? You want to be a force to be reckoned with as a man. And a lot of y'all are kind of desperate as far as that desire goes. You want to be distinguished so bad, you want to be recognized and identified so bad that you take drastic measures to reach that end. And some of the drastic measures that y'all take is like, coming on these platforms like YouTube and whatnot, and listening to these quote unquote gurus or experts, about manhood or dealing with women or being successful and all this type of shit, right? And some, I ain't gonna say everybody, some people have some good things to say. Some people have some valid things to say. But to be honest with you, a lot of people have a lot of bullshit to say. And they prey on your vulnerability. Because that's what it is that you got with yourself. You got a vulnerability with yourself. And so you all ears to any and everybody that, will tell you what you think you want to hear. But, a lot of these dudes be saying a lot of bullshit, and what validates that fact that they say a lot of bullshit is just paying attention to them, right? See, this is what a lot of content creators don't understand about social media and the internet. See, when you get on here and you spend an extended period of time on here, people might not learn everything about you, but they're going to learn a lot about you. You're going to reveal a lot of who you are on these platforms, whether you realize it or not, whether you intend to or not. And, some people might not recognize when and how you reveal yourself as a content creator, but it's only a matter of time. And some content creators reveal more of themselves than they should because they just not that polished. They not that sharp, and, as we say, the truth comes to the light. So I say all that to say a lot of these people expose themselves sooner than later, right? And these are people that a lot of y'all, you hang on their every word. And, they not going to tell you what you need to hear. And a big part of the reason why they not going to tell you what you need to hear is because they need to hear the same thing that you need to hear. It's just like they say in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. You might be blind and he got one eye, but y'all still need to hear the same shit, right? But because he got one eye, he could see a little bit more, and he could see, some things that you can't see. So therefore he's able to, manipulate you and capitalize off of you, right? And, speaking of all of that, it's obviously a lot of fraudulent things within that. It's a lot of fraudulent activity. It's a lot of fraudulent things being said and done, right? So, one thing that's going to separate you, right, as a man, first and foremost, especially in 2026, because nobody likes themselves, and therefore everybody is trying to be somebody who they not. They trying to be everything but themselves. What's the main thing that's gonna separate you as a man from most men is just being the truth. Just being the truth, man. Just being honest. And before you can be the truth to anybody else, you have to be the truth to yourself. Right? And it sounds very simple, but a lot of people have a big problem doing that. A lot of people are very challenged when it comes to that, right? Being the truth to themselves before they can be the truth to anybody else. It's we live in a time where there's more distractions now than ever. There's never been a time where we've been more distracted as a people, especially in America, right? It's so many distractions everywhere you go, everywhere you look, everywhere, everything that you do, everything that you get involved in. Whenever you pick this shit up and open it, your phone, it's a million distractions, right? So, what a lot of people don't realize is the more you allow yourself to be distracted, the further you drift away, in a lot of cases, from being the truth, especially to yourself. It's a lot of y'all that need to work on certain things personally, but you never give yourself the time to do that because you stay distracted by your phone and just these different devices, and and sometimes different people that you ain't got no business engaging with or being involved with whatsoever, right? But that's one thing that you have to understand. You got to be the truth to yourself. And again, back to a lot of these content creators, you listening to them and they not the truth to themselves. So how can they be the truth to you? A lot of these guys are not the message that they bring, as Andre Taylor would say. These guys are not the message that they bring, right? And, if you don't know any better, you're not going to be able to recognize that shit. And you're not going to know any better and be able to recognize that shit if you're not being the truth to yourself. See, when you the truth to yourself, it serves as a protection to you, right? It protects you from lame individuals. It protects you from con artists. It protects you from bullshit ass people when you being the truth to yourself, right? But when you're not being the truth to yourself, and it's not like you don't intend to be the truth to yourself, but again, when you allow yourself to be so distracted, you standing for less, which means you're going to fall for more, right? You're not taking time to invest in yourself physically, mentally, or spiritually. So, you want somebody else to do it for you. You want somebody else to give you the answers to shit that, you should figure out the answers to for yourself through trial and error, through living life, through experience, and that's another thing too. A lot of y'all seek answers from these different people because you afraid to go through it to get to it. And that's the best way to get to it, is to go through it to get to it. But a lot of y'all don't want to go through it to get to it. You want certain things that you don't want to be responsible for. And that's just real. You want things that you don't want to be responsible for. You want to be, a distinguished man. You want to be somebody that's respected and recognized and admired and just all these different things, but you don't want to be responsible for that shit. You just want it to come. You just want it to be like a TV dinner. You just pop the shit in the microwave for a few minutes and then here you go. Now you got all this shit that you always wanted. And, again, the evidence of that is how you go about reaching these, I guess you could say, goals. You don't go about reaching these goals through work and, putting yourself to the test. You go about reaching these goals by, hitting other people up for the answers. And it's one thing to, seek help on how to do certain things, but it's another thing when you just want everything done for you. You want somebody else to sculpt and mold your manhood, and it ain't gonna never work like that. And again, because you don't understand that you need to be the truth to yourself before you can be the truth to anybody else, you operating outside the truth. So again, you standing for less, so you falling for more. You falling for these grifters, as they call them, right? But the bottom line that you need to understand, man, is that you got to be the truth to yourself, right? And sometimes when you being the truth to yourself, especially when you're just coming into the idea of being the truth to yourself, you ain't gonna like what you facing. You know, like I done said before, a lot of y'all need to look at the mirror within yourself. Just imagine, and I've said this before, and some of y'all who done been locked up in certain county jails and shit like that, you can relate to what I'm about to say. But just imagine running around every day and not being able to see what your face looks like, neglecting your face as a man. For a woman, that would be kind of crazy too, but especially for a man, we grow facial hair. We like to keep our hair cut or hair styled or edged up or whatever, or clean cut, whatever. You know what I mean? We like to be well groomed as men. But just imagine if you just was running around for weeks and months and years and you never look at your face. You don't have no mirror available, no camera available. So therefore you just ain't looking at your face at all. You just getting up, going, moving around, and you not looking at your face at all. Eventually, much sooner than later, you're going to look a damn fool. Right? And, you won't even know the truth about your face and what it looks like. And people might tell you different things, but because everybody got different interpretations of shit, you ain't gonna never know what you look like based on what other people was telling you. And, for your face, you know what I mean? For you to be the truth to yourself before you can be the truth to anybody else, that's what that mirror is for, right? So that you can know what your face is like, and so that you can maintain your face and present your face at its best, you need a mirror. And you got to look at that mirror daily, often. You know what I mean? Multiple times a day. Me, myself, I love the mirror. You know what I mean? The physical mirror I'm talking about. I love looking at myself, man. I love, keeping myself groomed and all that type of shit, man. I love that shit. And on the same token, just like I just broke down the theory of, you not being able to look at your face, or just not necessarily not being able to, but just for whatever reason, you ain't looking at your face every day and you just going out moving around. A lot of y'all are doing that internally. You're not looking at yourself internally. You're not looking at your character. You're not looking at your personality. You're not looking at your principles. You're not looking at your values. You're not looking at what drives you. The things that motivate you to do what you do, or the things that distract you from doing what you should be doing or want to be doing but ain't doing. Right? You're not doing any introspection. You're not taking any inventory of who you are and what you are, where you at right now, where you coming from, where you supposed to go. You're not doing none of that. But you want somebody else to give you the answers, though. So, man, once you finally grasp that concept and take a look at yourself, you're going to be like, damn. It's going to be like going into an abandoned house that ain't nobody stepped inside of in 20 years. It's going to be cobwebs and dust everywhere. Shit going to be out of order, rearranged. It's probably going to be a bunch of garbage, you know what I mean? The yard, the weeds is going to be 20 feet high, all that type of shit. That's how some of y'all look on the inside right now. Mentally and shit, even physically. We going to get there in a minute, though, as far as the physical part. But we talking about, mentally mainly, right? Yeah, man. A lot of y'all on the inside, man, you look like an old abandoned house right now. You know what I mean? With boarded up windows and you know, doors broken off the hinges and all type of shit, just neglecting yourself, man. And like I said, before you could be the truth to anybody else, you got to be the truth to yourself. And when you learn how to be the truth to yourself and then from there be the truth to everybody else, that's going to distinguish you as a man. That there alone. Because what you got to understand is just like you, a lot of these dudes, the majority of these dudes don't know they self and don't like they self. Right? Especially for you young people, man. And don't take this as me taking a shot at you. This is just me holding the mirror up to you, being 100. Something that you need that most motherfuckers ain't gonna give you and show you, right? But this especially goes for the young people who have grown up. You might be in your mid-20s right now, even late 20s, but you've grown up and social media has been available to you the way that it is right now for pretty much your whole life. As far back as you can remember, Instagram has always been there. Facebook has always been there. You know what I mean? And TikTok came into your life when you was probably a teenager or some shit like that. Snapchat probably came in your life when you was in middle school or something, and you grown now. This is really for y'all because, you in a lot of ways, you're not really responsible for the hand that was dealt to you. You was dealt a raw deal for real, and it's even worse now, man. A lot of these kids can't read. We pretty much at that point now where you have young adults who really can't read or do math or just do simple shit because Chat GPT and Grok and Gemini and what's the other one, Claude, and all these different things, all these AI apps is doing everything for you. They're giving you all the answers. You know what I mean? You ain't even got to be able to type. All you got to do is talk, and the shit will talk back to you. So because of that, a lot of y'all, your brain is like, it's like you got mental atrophy. Your brain is just, the muscles in your brain just ain't being worked at all, and that's going to cause a whole lot of problems in your life. It's going to make you feel inadequate, especially don't let you come across an attractive woman who is smart and articulate and, got her shit together. And, you trying to hold a conversation with her and you just lost in the conversation because, mentally she's more fit than you, right? It's like trying to go on a jog with somebody and you don't jog at all. And not only do you not jog or get no physical exercise, you smoke 2 packs of cigarettes every day. And then you get with somebody that jogs every day and doesn't smoke, and you try to go run 2 miles with that person. You're going to be fucked up. You're going to tap out. You're going to run out of breath half a block down the street and be hands on your knees, panting and shit like that. You're going to be all fucked up. So on the same token, that's what a lot of y'all is probably going to end up going through if you ain't already going through that right now, and like I said, I don't fault you because you didn't ask for or create, AI. You didn't ask for Chat GPT. You didn't create Gemini. The shit was just handed to you. Right. So I can't really fault you for that. It'd be different if you created the shit yourself and then, was suffering from the shit that you created, but it ain't like that. So, that's why, Uncle Freeze is here to give you this game that ain't nobody on the internet gonna give you. Nobody. Nobody gonna keep it raw and uncut with you like me. And I ain't just saying that to toot my own horn or make myself look a certain type of way. All you gotta do is pay attention. Like I said, the one thing about the internet is if you on here creating content for an extended period of time, sooner or later, who you are as a person is gonna be revealed. Certain characteristics is just, it's inevitable. Certain things about you are gonna be revealed. So with that being said, I've been on YouTube for 10 years now. Been on Instagram longer than that. Been on Facebook longer than that. So, and there's a lot about me on the internet. It's a lot of shit that you could pay attention to. And, it's a lot of bullshit too now. It's a lot of lies. It's a lot of hate. It's good, bad, and ugly though. That's just like real life. You know what I mean? That's just like in your neighborhood, wherever you from. Motherfuckers in your neighborhood gonna lie on you. Motherfuckers in your neighborhood gonna hate on you. Motherfuckers at your job gonna lie on you. Motherfuckers at your job gonna hate on you. You know what I mean? So the internet ain't no different. But it's up to you to be able to separate game from lame and be like, oh, okay, I can see that's some bullshit because this is who he really is. You know what I mean? And I ain't saying that I'm like perfect or flawless or anything like that, but one thing I'm going to be is the truth. You're going to get the truth out of me. And my history ain't no mystery. I ain't hiding nothing. I'm not on here trying to act like somebody that I'm not. I'm not on here trying to, portray myself as a scholar or, somebody that's formally educated or, somebody that's a business tycoon or some shit like that with millions of dollars in the bank. No, I'm not. I don't have to do all that. Why? Because I'm the truth. And even if I only got $1, I'm I'm a nigga with the truth that got $1. You know what I mean? And I'd rather be that than some bogus fake motherfucker that got $1 million because, money, as they say, money ain't gonna unlame you, and money ain't gonna make you, who you want to be. And I'm who I want to be. I ain't perfect, and as long as I live, I'm gonna be constantly working on myself because it's always room for growth. It's always room for improvement. So I'm never gonna stop working on myself. But I'm who I want to be though. I wouldn't want to be nobody else or nothing else, right? So, on that same token, just like you could do the same things with anybody else on the internet, you could do that with me. You could research me. It's all kind of shit on this motherfucker about me. So, like I said, my history ain't no mystery. So, just like you would if you was going to a restaurant, at least that's what I do. If I'm going to a restaurant or a nail place to get my hands and feet manicured and pedicured, or a gym, anything, any place that I'm going to, establishment or whatever, I'm going to read the reviews. And I'm going to pay attention to the reviews. And watch this, speaking of reviews, right? One thing I do when I read reviews about a restaurant or, again, like a store or whatever the case is, right? One of the first things I do is I go to the bad reviews. Like gyms, right? I do this all the time with gyms because I go to different gyms all the time. And the first thing I do is go to the bad reviews. And a lot of the times, the bad reviews be bullshit. Like, oh, it's hot in here. This gym is always hot. The temperature is always high. Motherfucker, you working out. Like, you don't want to sweat? Like, it'd be complaints about shit like that. Now, a lot of people, they'll look at some shit and see a bunch of bad reviews and be like, oh, no, I can't go there. I can't do that or whatever. You know what I mean? And, a lot of times the complaints be shit that's like not even anything to complain about. Right? Same thing with hotels, or if like somebody say the staff is rude It done been so many times I done read the reviews about a gym and they'll say that the staff at the gym is rude. Then I go there and they be the nicest people in the world. But see, what a lot of people ain't gonna tell you is that they socially awkward, and they not the truth to themselves. So when you not the truth to yourself and you socially awkward, when you encounter people, you gonna have a totally different interpretation from somebody that's the truth to themselves, and is not socially awkward because they're who they want to be and they're in tune with themselves, right? But see, when you socially awkward and you not the truth to yourself, man, you're going to encounter a lot of awkward moments with people. A lot of people that are not really rude might come off as rude to you, right? But I say all that to say, if you research Freeze, man, and you see some bullshit on my name, pay attention to who's saying it. You know what I mean? Pay attention to who's saying it. A lot of times it's somebody that hate theyself, right? And then another thing that you'll notice when you research me and pay attention to me, anybody who I talk about or roast or anything, first of all, it's the truth. I don't lie on anybody. Even if it's a popular lie that everybody is perpetuating, I don't say shit that I don't know ain't the truth. If I don't know for sure that it's, the truth, then I'm not going to perpetuate a possible lie, something, in Cali, we call it a wobbler. I'm not going to perpetuate a wobbler. You know what I mean? But yeah, if you pay attention to me, I don't lie on people. I don't hate on people. I don't dedicate, because there's people that got 10, 15, 20 videos dedicated just to me, talking about me, and they ain't got nothing good to say about me and all bad shit to say about me. And, you're not going to find that from me. You're not going to find a catalog of videos where I'm talking about a particular individual and I ain't got nothing but bad shit to say about him. Even the ones who do that with me, I ain't got time for that. You know what I mean? Why? Because I'm busy being the truth to myself and therefore being the truth to everybody I encounter. I'm just in a love affair with the truth, like I'm in a love affair with myself. I love the truth. A lot of people got a problem with the truth, and see the thing is, like I said, when you finally face yourself internally, when you finally take a long hard look at that internal mirror, right? You might not like what you see, but the beautiful thing is, again, back to the abandoned home analogy. You go up in a home that's been abandoned for 20 years, it might look crazy at first, but you can clean that shit up. You can renovate it. You can restore it. You can have it looking brand new. And on the same token, you could do that with yourself. You might look at yourself internally and if you're honest with yourself, see, this is like I'm talking about the truth. A lot of people got a problem with the truth. But the truth is the truth. And if you don't like certain truths about yourself, you can change them. You can change them. Right? And, just like I'm talking about how, like I said, with AI and chat GPT and all that type of shit, right? How I can't fault you for that because you didn't ask for that. Basically, that's something beyond your control, as far as it being presented to you, right? And speaking of things beyond your control, when you take a look at yourself as, that internal mirror and you taking a look at yourself and being honest with yourself, right? It's certain things beyond your control that you gonna see that you ain't gonna like. And some people have worse things to see than others. Right? Certain things might have happened to you when you was young that was beyond your control. And, it makes you ashamed of yourself. Right? But first you got to understand, okay, that was beyond my control. Right? I didn't ask for that. And yeah, it was fucked up. It was traumatic. but that was beyond my control. And, you know, that doesn't determine who I am. I'm bigger than that. You know, those experiences or that experience or those things or that thing, that doesn't amount to all of who I am. Right. And if you look at it the right way, not just honestly, but, you know, looking at it the right way, you allow that to be a strength, because that's an issue that a lot of people have too, right? A lot of people allow, again, certain things that have happened to them in their life that was beyond their control. They didn't ask for it. They couldn't control it. You know, certain things might have been forced upon you, you know, and you went through certain shit, you know, that same thing that you see as a weakness that you might be ashamed of, it can be turned into a strength, right? Excuse my pimping. It can be turned into a strength if you look at it from the right perspective. Like how I say all the time, how you see is how you're gonna be. You know. So if you see something as a weakness, it's gonna be a weakness. You could look at that same thing like this glass. Some of y'all might say it's half full. Some of y'all might say it's half empty. How you see is how you're gonna be. It's all a matter of perspective, right? So, you know, again, you got to be the truth with yourself, right? To see, one thing about being the truth with yourself, after you get past the hard part of acknowledging the things about yourself that you don't like and working on yourself, hey man, the truth is liberating. The truth is liberating. It's such a freedom with that, when you just being the truth to yourself and you honest with yourself, and you know you accept. I mean, we all got shit about ourselves, about our history, or just about ourselves, whether it's your body, your mind, or shit that you done been through. We all have things about ourselves that we really don't like, that if we can go back and change or we could do something about it, we would, but it's beyond our control. We all got shit like that, right? But when you like really just accept the truth about yourself and you being the truth to yourself, man, it's liberating. It's a freedom like no other that come with that. For real. But yeah, man, you got to be the truth to yourself, and then from there you can be the truth with others. And see, when it comes to, as a young man or as a man period, getting involved with women, hey man, once you learn how to be the truth to yourself and therefore be the truth to the people that you deal with, in this instance we talking about women, you know, when you really learn how to be the truth to women, oh my goodness, man, that's gonna separate you, man, because you know, a lot of guys a lot of guys don't really think about what women go through, right? Hey man, it's hard to be a human being, period, in today's times. But being a woman, oh my goodness. You know, guys, we got it hard too. You know, and we always talk about how we got it hard, but man, women got it hard in ways that I don't even think a lot of women even acknowledge or, you know, talk about. But, you know, I could talk about it because I'm a man, and as a man who, you know, notices other men and see how other men are, and like how I say all the time, you know, pimping, we could look through muddy water and spot dry land. When you know how to look through certain people and see characteristics that they try to mask, but they can't hide it from this game, though. Hey, man, it really puts things in perspective to you as far as how challenging it is for women. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's so many guys that are fraudulent in so many ways, man. It's so many guys that's fraudulent in so many ways. And they're fraudulent again because they haven't learned to be the truth to themselves. So they can't be the truth to the women that they deal with. And I'll go as far as to say that, that's it might be the majority of men out there. It might be the majority of males out there, I'll say. It might be the majority of males out there that don't know how to be the truth to themselves and therefore can't be the truth to a woman. Right? So within that, you got so many fraudulent dudes, who try to make their status seem like something that it's not. Who try to make it seem like they have experiences that they don't really have. Like they know things that they don't really know. A lot of dudes are crazy mentally and fucked up in the head. A lot of dudes are closet, rainbow people. A lot of dudes like messing with other dudes and are ashamed of that. And because they're not the truth to themselves, they can't be the truth to the women that they involve themselves with. And, they hide that type of stuff from a woman. And man, the list goes on and on with things that, dudes with the smoke and mirrors that dudes come with to these women. You know what I mean? And then, like I said, a lot of guys are not the truth to themselves. So they don't know how to present the truth to themselves in an acceptable way. Right? Like me, I've been to prison before. I got F's on my report card, as Sinful to P would say, right? A lot of guys are ashamed of that to the point where they'll lie to a woman about that, right? And the reason why they do that and the reason why they're ashamed of that is because they think that determines who they are as a man. But I know I'm bigger than that. I know it's a whole lot more to me than my criminal record. I know how to be beneficial to not just a woman, but whoever I deal with, whoever I engage with, right? I know that I'm an asset to whoever I involve myself with, right? And my criminal record doesn't determine that. So that's just one example, right? But you got dudes that'll try to, make themselves seem like something that they're not because they're ashamed of their background or they're ashamed of, different things about themselves. Right? But I'm the truth to myself. And because I'm the truth to myself, one thing about that, like I said, you can always make the truth better. You can improve the truth. Just like with that abandoned house. You can improve that abandoned house and renovate that house and make it look brand new. I constantly work on myself as a man, so I don't worry about that type of shit. And I'm not determined by something as small as that. It's a whole lot more. You know how many legendary great people were, felons? Malcolm X was one of them. Nelson Mandela is one of them. Abraham was one of them. Man, the list goes on and on and on. And those people that I just named, they went on to do magnificent things in spite of, they background. Now, this is something I want you to understand too when it comes to being the truth to a woman. Within being the truth, and you have to understand that about yourself as a man as well. You have to guard yourself. And being the truth to a woman doesn't mean that you have to reveal your whole life story to her, right? Because within being the truth to a woman, or anybody, period, but we talking about women, within being the truth to a woman, you have to understand that, some information makes you vulnerable, right? And some women are like the police. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of dealing with this bitch. You know what I mean? For real, man. Like some women, they will use anything you say or do against you, right? So because of that, you have to understand that you got to be responsible with the truth. Now you don't have to lie. You never gonna lie to her. Ain't no need to lie to her because she's not that big. You know, like why what's the point in lying to her, right? Because if you lied to her, whatever effect you get from that lie, you always know in the back of your mind that she's doing whatever you want her to do based on the lie, not based on the truth, not based on who you really are, right? You know what I mean? And you know you're gonna get the best out of people when you get their cooperation based on the truth, right? But yeah, man, you got to be responsible with the truth. You don't have to lie, but you got to be responsible with the truth. As the Honorable Mel Taylor taught in Andre Taylor Made Popular, well-placed truth is better than a lie. That just means you being responsible with the truth, right? Just like how you would be responsible with your child. You love your child, you proud of your child, you like showing your child off, but you're not just gonna drop your child off in the hands of just any and everybody. No, you're gonna be responsible with your child. So on the same token, you gotta be responsible with the truth. You know what I mean? And everything ain't for everybody to know. Like if they just so happen to know it, then hey, it is what it is. Yeah, that's me. But that's not all of me though. It's a whole lot more to me than that. And if you're gonna allow yourself to be cut short, you're gonna serve yourself an injustice based on, that truth about me, and you don't want to get to know the rest of the truth about me, all of these other beautiful truths about me, and hey, so be it. Right? But, yeah, man, you got to be responsible with the truth. And I'm saying this because, see, and that's another thing I want you to understand too, like back to, a lot of these content creators and being the message that you bring. I'm being the message that I bring. I can tell you about being responsible with the truth when it comes to dealing with women because I had to learn the hard way through mistakes that I made. I've been irresponsible with the truth to women before, and they used it against me, right? Women that I didn't take the time to position to earn that level of trust with me, right? Now, see, it's certain women that you can tell certain things to, but you have to know how to position them to earn that level of trust with you, right? And it's not easy. It's much easier said than done. I'm saying it and it sounds simple, but it's much easier. I mean, it's much more complicated than what it sounds, but it is possible though, right? But, you can't just meet a woman, take a liking to her. Oh, she cool as hell. You know what I mean? You might even left her at your apartment by herself for 30 minutes and, came back and everything was cool. So now you feel like you could trust her. No, it's deeper than that. You know what I mean? And again, like I said, I know this because I had to learn the hard way. I've had chicks, man. Like I just think about this one particular chick who did a lot of things right. She was cool as hell. She was, thoughtful at times in ways that other ones wasn't thoughtful. But, I trusted her with too much too soon. And I didn't position her to earn that level of trust with me. I had just taken a liking to her. And, she ended up using it against me. Actually, it's a few chicks, as I'm talking about it, other ones is coming to mind, where, out the gate, they just come off cool as hell, right? But you end up trusting them too much too soon, and they'll end up using that trust against you, right? Now, as I'm saying this, I don't want to, and that's another thing too. Like, it's just so much when it comes to these content creators, man. A lot of them got a bitter taste in their mouth towards women. A lot of them treat the woman like they enemy, right? And that's one thing I want you to understand about me. Yeah, I done been through some fucked up shit with women. Yeah, women have done me wrong. But at the same time, I still love women. I still appreciate women. You know what I mean? I still know how to treat a woman the right way with respect and love and care and all that type of shit, right? In spite of the bad things that have happened to me. Why? Because I learned from those experiences, and I learned to be more responsible with myself and with others moving forward, right? And see, this is something that a lot of people ain't gonna be able to tell you too, because why? They got their heart broke and they just been having a bitter taste in their mouth ever since. But they still like, being intimate with women. So they still deal with women because of that. But beyond the intimacy, they can't really appreciate nothing else about a woman. So that's why they talk so hateful about women and have nothing but a bunch of bad shit to say about a woman except for how she look. Right? You got to pay attention. Like I said, a lot of these people expose themselves if you just looking at them through the right lenses. Right? And a lot of these dudes that I see, they are very hateful towards women, man. They treat the woman like the op. Like females, the female anatomy is they ops. You know what I mean? A lot of them be treating women like the ops, man. For real. A lot of them don't know how to be romantic. And this is a pimp telling you this shit. Somebody who they think just hates women and preys on the weak women and all that type of shit, man. Somebody that they think just treats women bad. This the pimping telling you this shit, man. A real life pimp. But these dudes, like I said, man, they treat the woman like they ops, man. And all you got to do is pay attention. If they ain't got nothing but bad shit to say about a woman, a lot of them, when you see them interacting with women on podcasts and shit like that, it turns into an argument every time. The woman never looks at them with admiration and all like, damn, I can't believe I'm in the presence of this man. Damn, I'm so glad that I'm in the presence of this man. Damn, I learned so much from this man. Damn, this man is fly. Damn, he's such a gentleman. Damn, I could just look at him and tell he's just such a disciplined man. Damn, he's a strong man. These dudes don't have that type of effect when they dealing with women, man. They get catty and they argue with women all the time. And that's life. Sometimes you might get into an argument and have a disagreement with a woman, man. But every time you see them interacting with women is bad. Come on, man. Like I said, man, a lot of these dudes hate women, man. They got their heart broke one time by a woman, and now everything that's a woman they hate. They just like the physical part. But beyond the physical part, man, they just don't appreciate nothing about women. So they can't tell you nothing good as far as how to deal with women. They might tell you some shit as far as like how to manipulate a woman into her pants. And a lot of that shit be bullshit. You know what I mean? Because that ain't really my game. But I have such a beautiful mind that if that was my game, I would be the coldest at that shit. Like if my game was just, manipulating women so I could get in bed with them, oh man, I'd be a motherfucking problem, man. And I would teach the best game to y'all. But like I said, that's fraudulent, man. I'm just so much the truth, man. I don't put that type of value on intimacy with a woman. I have a different type of value when it comes to intimacy with a woman. And I don't value intimacy with a woman in a way that, I'll lie, cheat, and steal to get it. You know what I mean? It ain't that serious. Because you don't have to do all that. You don't have to lie, con, and you don't have to come with the con game to be intimate with a woman, man. You know how easy that shit is, man? Like, for real though. You know how easy it is, man. Like, one thing my pops taught me, and I think I've told y'all this before, man, but one thing my pops taught me before I even started, going there with women, before I was even old enough to really understand the shit, but I always remembered it. And then when I was old enough to understand it, it's like, I get it now. But man, I'm talking about I'm young, man, like 10, 11 years old. Pops like, you walk down the street and you ask for some PUSSY and you ask for $5, which one you think you're going to get first? Man. And my young ass, I'm like, I don't know. Pop's like, shit, man, you going to get some PUSSY first? You know what I mean? Just if you walk down the street asking people for $5, they're going to turn their nose up at you and look at you like, $5? Who the hell is you? But if you ask the same amount of times, put it like this. If you walk down the street and ask 100 people for $5 and you ask 100 people for some PUSSY, you're going to get the PUSSY first. For real, though. You're going to get that one first, man. I guarantee you. Especially, and see, Pops was telling me this shit in the 90s, man. Especially in 2026. You ain't even going to make it to 100 people. You might not even make it to 10 people. You ask 10 people for that, somebody going to give it to you. You know what I mean? So I say all that to say there's no need to lie about this shit, man. There's no need to lie in order to get that, man. But that's what a lot of these dudes do. They give you con game as far as how to have your way with a woman. But they don't understand, man. Like, just see, I'm big on the golden rule, right? Do unto others as you would have done unto yourself. The scripture tells you that, right? That's the golden rule. You know how they say treat people the way you want to be treated. The scripture says, do unto others as you would have done unto yourself, right? I'm big on that, right? So just think about yourself as a man and what gets you to cooperate with people, right? And then just think about yourself as a man and see, men, we ain't even a fraction as vindictive as women. We can't even do it. Like, we don't even have it in us to be as vindictive as women are. We ain't even built like that. It's impossible for a man to be as vindictive as a woman is, right? But just think about yourself, right? And what makes you cooperate with people. And just think about yourself as a man and somebody gets you to cooperate with them based on manipulation and con and all that. And then you find out that this person conned you in order to get you to cooperate with them, right? You're going to be mad as hell. You might want to beat them up. You might want to get violent and all that type of shit. Now imagine a woman. Man, a woman going to do some shit, boy, that you're not even going to expect it. You know what I mean? You ain't even going to be able to see where it's coming from. Bitch might wait 5 months and be like, yeah, he done let his guard down. Now I'm going to get his motherfucking ass. This is a woman, right? So basically, a lot of these dudes they sending you on crash dummy missions dealing with these women, right? They're not telling you how to be the truth to yourself and then therefore be the truth to a woman so that you can get the right kind of cooperation, and then just again, back to the golden rule. Think about yourself as a man. Think about when somebody gets you to cooperate with them based on the truth, right? Based on you believing the same thing that they believe. Y'all believe the same thing, right? And now you cooperating with them. Now y'all moving together. Y'all building. Y'all doing all type of shit, right? That's so much more powerful, right? Just think about this, right? Speaking of cooperation and, cooperating based on the truth versus cooperating based on lies or just bullshit or whatever, right? Or just, bad principles and all of that. Think about gang banging, right? You know, when dudes join a gang, 9 times out of 10 they teenagers, right? Or preteens. They young, right? They kids pretty much when they join a gang. And, you know, some dudes, especially the ones that end up being, you know, hardcore, diehard gangbangers, right? This super down for they set and super loyal to their hood and all that, right? Willing to kill and die for their hood. Them type of dudes, when they join the gang, they join based on the theory that, okay, we all believe the same thing. You know, my homies, they believe what I believe, right? My homies, just like I'll die for the hood, my homies will die for the hood. You know what I mean? Just like I'll go put in work on some people from the opposite side who done did something to us. You know, my homies will do the same thing, right? This is how a lot of the super hardcore dudes come into that thinking, right? Then as time progresses and they go through shit, you know, they might get hurt. One of their homies might get, you know, unalived by the ops. And when it's time to go ride, they the only one. You know, when somebody do something to them, they homies ain't going to ride, right? Or if it's 20 homies around, only one of them is going to ride with you. You know what I mean? Or, you know, you might be the type of homie that, like, when your partner get locked up, he might do 15 years and you going to ride with him the whole 15. Then when he get out, you going to bless his hand. You know, you got homies from certain hoods that's like that, right? But let you go do a 15-year bid. You know, they going to forget all about you. Right? So, that's when, you know, you cooperate with something, in this case a gang, based on you thinking that they believe the same thing that you believe, and then as time goes on, you kind of find out that they don't, you know, and you chose up on some bullshit. You chose up on this hood based on some bullshit, right? And now that you know, 40 and 50 years old, if you could go back in time, you would have never got put on the set. This is what a lot of the OGs be saying. A lot of the OGs that's in their 40s, 50s, 60s now, you know what I mean? A lot of them be saying, like, man, if I'd have known that it was going to be like this, man, I would have never joined the gang. You know, when you watch a lot of these podcasts and the OGs be telling their stories, man, a lot of them be saying that shit. Or, you know, because of the times that we in now we get to see, you know, to a certain extent, like we have a window into a lot of dudes that's doing, you know, 30 years, 40 years, life sentences without the possibility of parole, all that type of shit, right? And you see them in their cell with their cell phone saying the same thing. And some of them ain't even that old. You know, they might be 31 years old but been locked up for 10 years. You know, and they saying the same shit, like, man, don't join the gang, man. If I'd have known it was going to be like this, I never would have joined the gang, right? So that's, again, cooperating with something based on you thinking y'all believe the same thing, but, you know, eventually your cooperation is going to wane and you're not going to be cooperating no more because you come to find out y'all don't believe the same thing, right? Now, on the flip side of that coin, take the Nation of Islam, right? You know, go back to like the early days of it when Malcolm joined the nation, right? And when Malcolm, you know, helped build the nation exponentially, right? Malcolm was able to do that because, you know, first of all, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was the truth to himself and he was the truth to him, right? And then Malcolm, you know, him and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad believed the same thing, right? They believed the same thing. And, you know, Malcolm Because it was a point in time in Malcolm's early days, in his early life before he joined the nation, when he was in the streets, that he wasn't the truth to himself, and therefore he wasn't the truth to, the people that he was engaging with, right? But once he joins the nation, now he learns how to be the truth to himself. Then he starts being the truth to whoever he encounters and engages with, right? So because of that, look at how he was able to get so many people to believe what he believed. And then, once he had their cooperation, look what they was able to do. Look what they was able to build. Right? And then look at how Malcolm, being the truth to himself, look at what it did to him. As many of you have heard before, when they did the autopsy on Malcolm after he died, the coroners or whatever, they said this is the cleanest body we've ever seen. His body was so pure and clean because he learned how to be the truth to himself, and him and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, they believe the same thing, right? And he was so in tune with the Most High, he was so in tune spiritually that, within him being the truth to himself, he invested in himself, in an amazing way. He became a ferocious reader, constantly soaking up knowledge. If you ever read the autobiography of Malcolm X, one thing he said in there was that, one thing that he wished was that he would have started reading the way that he did at a younger age, because he didn't start reading like that until, he joined the nation. And he spent a lot of his time reading. He just couldn't put books down. And in his autobiography, that's one thing that he said. He said one thing that he wished was that he could, if he would have started reading when he was younger, right? But he just invested in himself a certain type of way. And, he got people to cooperate with him based on the truth, because he was the truth to himself first. So he wasn't coming at people with kind game. Like, yeah, man, y'all need to join the nation, man. Go ahead, choose up on the nation one time, man. You join this nation, man. It's going to be like this. It's going to be like that. You know what I mean? Let your next move be your best move. Everything be all smooth. You know what I mean? Come on, join this nation now. You dig? You know what I mean? Yeah, we winning over here. He didn't do none of that. And it wasn't based on, and see, this is what I want you to understand too, right? Speaking of Malcolm and how valuable he was. Because in today's times, if you look at what a quote unquote high value man is, right? With all due respect to Kevin Samuels, rest in peace. But if you look at his definition, his breakdown of what a high value man is, right? Malcolm would fit some of the criteria, but some of the criteria he wouldn't fit. Malcolm, he never had a lot of money. He was never like wealthy. He was never balling financially. You know what I mean? But knowing his history, knowing anything that you might know about Malcolm X, would you say that he wasn't a high value man? Absolutely not. He was beyond a high value man. Like when, Malcolm influenced so many people to join the nation, man, they was getting so many people off of drugs, getting so many people out of criminality, like out the streets. Like they had a program that was like so effective. And just imagine that, you're playing a role in somebody with an addiction to heroin, with an addiction to alcohol or tobacco and all this type of stuff. And you getting them to believe what you believe to the point where they just put all that down and never go back to it. If that ain't a high value man, I don't know what is. But this is somebody who never made a lot of money like that. You know what I mean? This is somebody who was the truth to himself and therefore was able to be the truth to others, right? Hydrate my game. So yeah, man, I say all of that to say, on the same token, as a man, when it comes to you dealing with women, again, just like with gang banging, you could be like that. Just like how people get, you know, young dudes to join a gang, get kids to join a gang based on a lie, based on based on bullshit. You can get a woman to cooperate with you based on that. And in the beginning, it might work, you know. She might believe the bullshit you selling. She might buy it. And that might get you in the bedroom with her and all that type of shit. But, you know, what you got to understand about women, again, you know, man, when they scorn, man, and they get vindictive, boy, man, you know, it's something that you just really would rather not deal with. You know how many dudes is in the graveyard right now behind a vindictive woman. You know how many dudes is in the penitentiary right now and ain't gonna never get out behind a vindictive woman. Man, you know how many dudes is paralyzed right now, can't walk because of a vindictive woman. Dudes is missing an arm, a leg, a hand, a foot because of a vindictive woman. How many dudes almost lost their life and barely made it because of a vindictive woman? Like, the list goes on and on, man. You know, you don't want to volunteer that on yourself when you can just take the time to be the truth. Take the time to be the truth to yourself and then be the truth to others, man. Because what you would rather have, like me, and like Dre even showed y'all that, man. Dre showed y'all that with for those of y'all who have seen Master of the Game, you know, his film, you know, he was able to get multiple ex-students of his to come and participate in that film years after they wasn't involved with him no more. Why do you think that is? How do you think that is? You think if Dre was a con artist and he was getting women to, you know, get down for him and hand it over to him based on con and lies, that he would have been able to do that? Hell no. He was able to do that because, first of all, he was the truth to himself, and therefore he was able to be the truth to the women that he was involved with. You know what I mean? So, and speaking of jail, man, you know, for those of y'all who done been locked up, you know what I'm talking about, man. We all done seen them dudes in jail, man, who got all these big stories. You know, they was selling a million kilos a day. You know, they done knocked out 1,000 niggas. You know what I mean? They a knockout artists. You know, they was balling like this on the street and balling like that, but ain't never got no money on their books. Ain't nobody ever sending them letters or pictures. Ain't nobody ever coming to visit them. They can't never call nobody because won't nobody accept their calls. You know, they just ain't got nothing going on but these, you know, lofty ass stories, right? Then on the other hand, you got the cast that's quiet, don't really talk a whole lot about, you know, their history, you know, ain't bragging about what they had going on the streets. Stay with money on their books. Got a whole bunch of pictures on their bunk. Stay getting letters with perfume on them, you know, every other day, if not every day. Letters with perfume and lipstick on them. You know what I mean? Stay getting visits. Yeah, man, you know, it's a difference. That, you know, that's somebody that's being the truth to themselves and then therefore being able to be the truth to the woman that they dealing with, right? You know, back to Dre. You know, when he was in prison, man, when he went to prison, him and Dove didn't even know each other for very long before he went to prison. But she held him down that whole 3 years, you know, and still holding him down now. Ended up giving him a kidney. You know, like, come on, man. You know, you don't get people to do that based on based on being false. He said with the perfume and lipstick on him. Yeah, you know what I mean? See, I know because when I was in the joint, I was getting letters with the perfume and the lipstick on it. You know what I mean? I stayed getting them, you know, with the pictures and all that type of shit. Yeah. Yeah, I could talk about it because I know. You know what I mean? Sexy Slim, that struck a nerve with you like you done did that before, huh? You done sent somebody a picture, I mean a letter with the perfume and the lipstick on it before. That's all good though. Shout out to all the ladies who done sent the fellas in the joint, you know what I mean, a letter or two or a few or many with the lipstick and the perfume on it, man. You know, because man, you know what's crazy? I've been out of prison for 21 years. Or almost 21 years. I've been out the joint 20 years, right? I haven't seen fortunately, I haven't seen a prison yard in over 20 years, right? But do you know I could still smell the perfume though? Like I still know what that perfume smell like from them letters. Like that's a smell that you'll never forget, man. Like that shit is so powerful to a man when he locked up to be able to smell a woman's perfume. You just don't know what that shit do. 20 years later, I still know what that perfume smell like. I might not even know the name of it, but if I smell that shit right now, I'm going to know what it is. You know what I mean? For real. But yeah, man, be the truth. Invest in yourself. Right? Supposed to said, yeah, laugh out loud. Nigga, I was getting them in juvenile hall. For real. And see, Jody Killer, you saying how to improve your mouthpiece, just like you improve anything else. Exercise. Right? Exercise. You know, what good is a mouthpiece if you ain't using it? Right? What good is having a mouthpiece if you're not using that shit engaging with women? Right? Or not even just engaging with women, like whether it come to business, because having a mouthpiece comes in handy when you conducting business. Having a mouthpiece comes in handy. See, a lot of people and I'm glad you mentioned mouthpiece, right? And this has to do with being the truth too, right? A lot of times when people think about somebody having a mouthpiece, right? You think about somebody being whimsical with their words and having the fancy wordplay and rhyming and, you know, having the riddles and all that type of shit, right? That's cool. But a lot of times with a lot of dudes, because they not the truth, see, you got some dudes that sound great. They quote unquote mouthpiece sounds great, but they not the truth to themselves. So therefore they can't be the truth to a woman, right? And then a lot of dudes, you know, they regurgitating something that came from somebody else's mouthpiece, right? So, you know, you might be able to do that real good. You know, you might be able to put together a collage of words that come from this pimp, this Mac, that Mac, this slick motherfucker, that slick motherfucker, and all that type of shit. And you done put it all together and try to pass it off as yours, but it really ain't. It just sound real good, right? But if you're not the truth to yourself and therefore being the truth to others, then, you know, that shit don't mean nothing. Right? See, somebody with a real mouthpiece, again, they're going to be the message that they bring, right? So this is what I want you to think about when it comes to having a mouthpiece. You want to be the message that you bring, first of all. So don't just focus on sounding good. Focus on being good while sounding good. You know, sounding good is good. That's cool. But focus on being good while sounding good. See, a lot of dudes don't focus on being good while sounding good. They just focus on the sounding good part. But focus on being good while sounding good, right? And, you know, like I said, not only does a mouthpiece come in handy when it comes to dealing with women, a mouthpiece can come in handy when it comes to doing business. And also, having a good mouthpiece can protect you. Having a good mouthpiece can get you out of situations. Having a good mouthpiece can help you diffuse hostility between you and other people or between your loved ones or whatever. You know what I mean? See, a lot of times my mouthpiece is used in that way. You know, I got pimp partners that sound very good. You know, they got all the riddles and the rhymes and all that type of shit, right? But when they end up in certain situations, they'll call Freeze and ask Freeze to, you know, be the mouthpiece in that situation. That's just like one time, right? I remember one of my partners, he had a young lady, a student of his, right? She got into a real bad car accident while she was with him. Like they weren't in the car together, but while she was down for him, she got to a real bad car accident, ended up in the hospital, right? She was fucked up. And, you know, her mama flew into town because her mama, she was from a different state. So her mama flew into town and, you know, her mama was tripping and wanted answers and wanted to know what's going on. Why is my baby in the hospital? Woo, all this shit, right? And, you know, he didn't know how to deal with that situation. So he was like, you know what, Pete, man, Pete, you know, you think you could talk to her mom, man, when her mom get over here, woo-de-woo, because mom's was going to pull up. And I was like, yeah, I got you. You know what I mean? So, you know, oftentimes I'm that. That's what my mouthpiece is used for oftentimes. You know what I mean? My mouthpiece is great for knocking a bitch. My mouthpiece is good for, you know, conducting business and negotiating and all that type of shit. But my mouthpiece is excellent when it comes to, you know, settling things, you know, diffusing the drama, right? And see, this is one thing that's going to make your mouthpiece excellent in them type of situations too, right? See, and not just them kind of situations, but this thought, this understanding that you need to have that's going to help your mouthpiece in damn near any situation is this: understanding the strongest human urge. The strongest urge that all of us as human beings have. Let me see if somebody know what that is. Let me see what y'all put in the chat, man. Somebody tell me what's the strongest human urge that we all have. Somebody put that in the chat. Rich said revenge. The strongest human urge is revenge, man. Damn. I guess I must not be a human then, man, because I don't be tripping on revenge like that. I guess I'm an alien or something, man. Bro said revenge. That's the strongest human urge. Revenge. Get back. The big payback. Dun, dun, dun. Man, it looked like one of y'all, only one of y'all got the answer right. Let me read all the answers that y'all done gave. To be desired, hunger, revenge, to be understood, overreacting. A few of y'all said attention, to survive, opinions, socialize, attention again, connection, eating, connection, attention, to reproduce, to be seen, to feel wanted, the urge to be right. Cali Kid, that's one of them too. That's within that. Jody Killer say to be understood, to be recognized, connection, social connection, belonging, to breathe, survive, reproduce. Few of y'all got it right, but it's to be understood. Now, some of us, we want things, different things, and, we want some things more than others, but ultimately, that's what it boils down to. The strongest human urge is to be understood, man. We all want to be understood. We love it when somebody genuinely tells us, man, I feel you. We love that. You know what I mean? I see where you're coming from. We love when people can understand us, understand where we're coming from, understand what we're going through. The strongest human urge that we all have is to be understood, right? So when you know that as a man, right? And from there, you start working on how to make people feel understood. This is how you get cooperation with people. So, then, you'll think about having the right things to say based on that. But you got to be genuine, though. You got to be real. You got to really want to understand where people is coming from. You got to really take the time to understand people, right? And then once you're able to understand people, knowing the right things to say in order to get people's cooperation, right? See, a lot of times people get in their feelings, back to my partner who wanted me to talk to old girl's mom when she had gotten to that car accident, that was one thing that he said. He was like, man, P, could you talk to her mom, man, because I'm going to fuck around and say the wrong thing. I might cuss her mama out or something like that, man. Whoopty, whoopty, whoop. See, people be getting into their feelings, right? Because they don't feel understood, right? Now, here it is. You have this mother whose daughter is in the hospital because she got into a real bad car accident. And then you got this pimp over here, you know what I mean, who going through his own shit because that's his 304 that's in the hospital. You know what I mean? And everybody's upset. And here you have the mother coming, she want answers from the pimping. And, so the mother wants the pimping to understand where she coming from as a mother, right? She's just assuming automatically that, okay, he knows I'm her mother, so of course he's gonna tell me what I want to know because, he should understand as a mother that I'm concerned, right? But pimping, on the other hand, he like, man, fuck all that. Like, man, I ain't trying to, all this yelling and shit and you tripping and you got a bad attitude and all that, bitch. I don't want to hear all that shit. I don't give a damn if you her mother or not. Like, you ain't about to talk to me any old kind of way, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop, right? Whereas me, and people don't understand why I'm able to communicate with people like that in those types of situations, is because I do my best to look at things from other people's perspective. Why? Because back to the golden rule, do unto others as you would have done unto yourself, right? Now, I have a daughter. And if my daughter was in the hospital, God forbid, and she, was dealing with this man, I would want answers. Now, of course, I'm not going to come all irate and hostile like the mother would because I'm a man. So, I'm going to be more level-headed about the situation. But, just as a parent, I'm looking at where the mama is coming from. And because she's a woman, I expect her to be irate. I expect her to be tripping because, nobody has at this point put her at ease as much as possible because she don't know what's going on, right? I understand all of that. So therefore, because I understand all of that, I'm gonna have something much better to say to the mama than, you know, old girl folks, my partner would, right? So, but the bottom line is understanding. Everybody wants to be understood. And when people feel like they not understood, they not gonna cooperate with you. They gonna fight with you. They gonna walk away from you. But on the other hand, when people do feel understood, then they're gonna cooperate with you. Back to Malcolm X and, you know, him playing a role in building the Nation of Islam the way that he helped do. You know, he was able to get those people's cooperation, and he was able to get those people to believe what he believed because they felt understood. And Malcolm had to know that because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad definitely knew that. He definitely knew that, you know, the strongest human urge was to be understood because he was excellent at making people feel understood. And therefore, Malcolm became excellent at making people feel understood. Right? So, yeah, man, you know, far as getting your mouthpiece right, man, you know, first you want to know that and keep that at the forefront of your mind. The strongest human urge is to be understood, especially when it comes to dealing with women. Women especially want to be understood. We all do as human beings, but especially women. They more serious about it, you know what I mean? They gonna go more out of their way about it than a man, you know. So yeah, man. Understand that, and then from there, once you know that, then exercise. You know, your mouthpiece ain't gonna get in tip top shape without trial and error. But like I said, you know, focus more so on being good while sounding good than just sounding good. You know, because the more you be good, the more you're going to sound good. You're not going to sound as good if you're not simultaneously being good with it. Right? Let me read some of these supers one time. Hey, man, hold on, man. Man, y'all tripping. You mean to tell me it's 350 people, 356 people in here, but only 178 of y'all done wiped your feet off at the door when you stepped into a pimp's door, man? Y'all done dragged all type of sucker dust and mark dust and buster dust. You know what I mean? Y'all been walking around. You probably done stepped in dog shit and cat piss and all type of shit, man. Come on, man. Wipe your feet off at the door when you step into a pimp's door, man. Hit that like button. Ty Maestro, good looking with the $2 holla. Blessings P, do you work out when you fast? No. The last time I did, and I didn't like the effect that it had. I felt like it kind of depleted some of my muscle because back in October I did a 5-day fast and I worked out during that fast, and I was lifting weights, going hard, all that shit, right? And I felt like that depleted my muscle because I believed that my muscles were used as fuel as opposed to fat or glucose being used as fuel. So when I just did this 7-day fast at the beginning of this month, no, I didn't work out, but I still walked a lot though. Like within that 7-day fast, I still was walking at least 12,000 steps a day, which is about at least 5 miles. So yeah, I was still walking at least 5 miles throughout the day while I was fasting. But no, I wasn't like working out, like lifting weights and all that shit. Nah. it felt good. It was great. You did. Paid with TJ, good looking with the $20 holla. One time for Sinful, and also I appreciate you for the inspiration to drink more water and get my health in order. For sure, man. Paid with TJ, I appreciate you as well, man. Good looking. Yes, sir. And one time, two times, a few times, innumerable times for Sinful to P. You dig? Brother Bill, good looking with the $2 holla. Glory to God for this game. Long live Philip Brandon Gilmore. Gold thumbnail. Yeah, man. You know, Pimp got, Freeze good with them thumbnails, man. If it's something I know how to do for sure, it's come with the fire thumbnails. You dig? Johnny Cage, good looking with the $20 holla. When I walked up on you and you and your boy in Botero, oh, I think I might know. Wait. In Botero Central on your right side, you had an aura on you, inspiration. Damn. Inspiration to be good, not just sound good. It was nice meeting you, big bro. And I'm glad you're enjoying the peace of Colombia. For sure. Appreciate you, man. I think I remember what you're talking about too. I think I remember that. If you are who I think you are, yeah, for sure I remember that. But good looking though, man. Appreciate you. Jody Killer, good looking with the $10 holla. I recently had a breakup with my ex. The nigga she been with called my phone, talking to me wild like he felt he had her, etc. How do I not let that affect me or my confidence? Well, you got to ask yourself, some things right now. I'm curious to know like how long you was with the chick. Do y'all have like a lot of history with each other? Do y'all have a lot of ties? Because when you with somebody for a long time, man, you tend to have like a lot of ties and connections with somebody, and just because y'all might not be together in a relationship no more, y'all still tied together in certain ways. So I'm curious about that. And then, also I'm curious to know, like, is this something that's happened before where, y'all broke up with each other, she got with somebody else and, dude, did that shit, calling your phone, talking crazy, but then she ended up back with you anyway. Is it just a mad move, as we say in the game? Is she just doing a mad move, or do it seem like she gone for good? You know what I mean? But what it sound like, though, is that you still got feelings for her, and that's natural. That's you don't have to be too proud to say that as a man. Again, we talking about being the truth to yourself. But whatever the case is, you don't want to magnify that bigger than yourself and what you got going on, and it have been times where I done had certain partners, right, that, they might lose a 304 that they really got a liking for. And then once she gone, that's all they talking about. But it's the best way to get over a 304? A new 304. You know what I mean? So on the same token, man, if you had a new woman in your life, then you wouldn't be thinking so much about her. Hold on. We was together 3 years. I told you about her before, big bro. You know what? I kind of remember that now. Yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, that might have been before I came to Columbia. I was live and we talked about that. Yeah. I kind of think I remember that. Yeah. Yeah, but But yeah, man. And it's much easier said than done, man. When you got love for somebody and y'all been together for a while and then y'all part ways, for some people it's easier said than done. It ain't as simple as just meeting somebody new, because some people meet somebody new and they just can't get that last person off their mind. But see, y'all be saying no audio, man. I don't know why that be happening for some of y'all, but you froze for a minute. Hold on. Hold on a second. It was the Muslim girl. Huh. I'm trying to remember that part about the Muslim girl. Damn. See, I damn near almost remembered alive that it was when we was talking about it last time. Yeah, see, the audio is cool on my end. Let me put this in the chat, and I don't know why it does that for some of you, because I know some of y'all can hear me and some of y'all can't. Yeah, so for those of y'all that can hear me, you see the pinned comment. So if the audio goes out on you, just tap out and tap back in, and it should be cool. I don't know why it's doing that for some of y'all, because on my end it's cool, and for some of y'all, you ain't having that problem. But yeah, man, Jody Killer, man, that's something you got to keep in mind too, right? As the old saying goes, the idle mind is the devil's playground. So with that in mind, and that being said, you gotta figure out a better way to occupy your time and occupy your mind. You gotta figure out something that's gonna you know get your mind off of that. It sounds like you got time to be thinking about that, and you're not, it's other better things that you could be thinking about, other better things that you could spend your time doing. You know, uh, I don't remember if you somebody that likes to go to the gym, but that's my therapy, man. The gym, that's what I do. I like going to the gym, man. That's the therapy that that's like my drug, man. That's how I get high. Some people smoke weed, some people pop pills, some people do other shit. Me, I go to the gym. You know, that shit is so therapeutic. Uh, Meditation is good too. I don't know if you into that, but meditation is good. Game oriented says got to get hobbies and shit. Hobbies is cool, but like, I mean, yeah, you can do that. You can get a cool hobby. That reminds me of a partner of mine, right? One of my partners, he had a student that was with him for 14 years, right? She was with him for 14 years. It's supposed to, you don't have to say who it is, but you might. I'm pretty sure you know who it is, supposed to Prince. But a partner of mine, he from Cali, but he had this chick for 14 years, and she ended up getting unalived by a trick down there in Florida, right? And naturally, as you would imagine, he was fucked up behind that shit. And I'm sure, even though this happened years ago now, I'm sure he's still fucked up right now. But I remember he pulled up on a blade one day, man, and he popped his trunk open. And he had some funky ass fishing equipment back there. He had the little tackle box with the fishing poles and all that shit. Trunk stinking like a motherfucker, you know what I mean? But he was in much better spirits though. And he was saying that's what helped him deal with the situation was taking up fishing. He just went fishing one day and, he just fell in love with that shit, man. But that helped him get through that situation better. You know what I mean? It ain't nothing that you ever, as far as losing somebody's life like that, that's not something that you ever just gonna get over. But it helped him deal with the situation much better. And he was like, yeah, P, man, I take my fishing equipment everywhere now, man. Everywhere I go, I got this shit with me, man. And I was like, that's what's up, P. But it was just good to see him in good spirits. And he found something that, could, help ease his mind when it came to that. Right. So, a hobby can be good as far as like, getting your mind off of that type of stuff. I guess, some people would probably consider working out a hobby. For me, it's a lifestyle, but, it's an activity that can help get your mind off of things. Right. Cause see what you got to understand too, right? This is me. And, everybody don't have to operate the way I do. So you don't have to be like me, but I can just put it out there and it may be helpful to you. It may not, You can pick it up if you want to, but you don't have to, right? But see me, I look at it as like it's either you or me. Right? And I'm going to choose me every time when I look at it that way, right? Because like, okay, now this woman done left your life, right? Now, if you sitting over there hung up on her and always thinking about her and all that type of stuff, you focusing more on her. So she's getting more of your energy than you are for yourself in a lot of ways, right? So, when you look at it as it's either you or me, then, it it becomes that much more easy to make the decision of, nah, I can't choose you. I got to choose me. Right? Dow, yeah, Dow. I'm still down here in this Columbia, man. Oh, Sepulveda, yeah, you know who I'm talking about. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah, they was together for a long time, man, and he was fucked up. Which, like I said, I'm sure he's still dealing with that now. That ain't something that you ever gonna get over. But yeah, man, just look at it like you or me. You got to choose yourself. That's how I look at the shit. And it don't mean that you don't that you just and see that's what I want you to understand too, right? Don't look at it like you got to stop loving her. You know what I mean? It's okay to still love her. I got 304s that I ain't had in over 10 years that I still love dearly. Like for real. But I'm not sitting here, pacing back and forth every day with my head down thinking about the bitch, But I still love her though. I still hope she's doing all right. I still hope, the best for her. I hope she's thriving. I hope she, enjoying life. I would hate to hear about her doing bad or, anything like that. Uh, but yeah, man. You don't have to look at it like I gotta stop loving her. Because if you look at it like I gotta stop loving her, then that's gonna be putting a big weight on your shoulders that it's gonna be a lot to deal with. And then if you keep that mindset, and as I'm talking about it, it's coming to me like maybe that's what helps me not be hung up on a woman so much when she parts ways with me. But then the lifestyle that I live is different too. But that don't mean anything, because you got certain pimps that, just like I said, man, you got certain pimps that be tripping when the 304 leave. They walking around with their head down. They ain't taking a bath. They ain't shaving. You come over like, man, P, come on, man, let's go outside campaign, man. Let's go get in the pimp's place, which is in the 304's face, man. Let's go see if we can knock something, man. Let's go campaign, man. P sitting over there on the PS5 like, man. P, I don't even feel like it, man. Face all scruffy and shit, hair all nappy. You know what I mean? Pimp ain't took a bath for 2-3 days. Like, P, man, come on, man. Come on, P. You got to shake that shit off, man. But at the same time that you doing all that, go out and meet other chicks. Go out and, go on some dates with some other women and shit like that, man. You might not just immediately meet somebody that's going to take your mind off of her, but you might immediately meet somebody that's going to take your mind off of her. Get out there in the field again. I know it probably been a while because, y'all was together for 3 years, so you wasn't out in the field like that, you know what I mean? But, man, go out there, get in the field, man. And then, not even just for the sake of, like, just trying super hard to meet somebody, but just go out and have fun. You know what I mean? Go to a club or something, or go to a bar or something, where there's women at, just have fun, with one of your bros or a few of your bros or some shit like that, man. Just go out and have some fun. You probably ain't did that in a while. Go have some fun. Get out the crib. Don't be sitting in the dark, man. I hope you ain't watching this live stream, man, in the dark corner right now with your head down, man, looking at a picture of the bitch, like, scrolling through pictures of y'all together and shit, like. That nigga over there hitting that fat ass, man. She still got the tongue ring too. She's still over there doing all that shit with the tongue ring she used to do with me. That nigga, man. Fuck that nigga, man. Fuck both of them. I'm fucking with you, man. I'm fucking with you, man. But that's the thing, man. You got to be able to smile through this shit, man. You got to be able to, be lighthearted about shit, man. You over there laughing. Look, he done turned the lights on now. He done turned the lights on and closed the photo gallery now. Yeah, man. You gotta laugh about this shit, man. For real. He over there looking around at the room like, damn, how Freeze know I'm over here sitting in the dark looking at these bitch pictures, man? How you know that shit, man? Nigga got cameras in here or something, man? Like, Oh shit. Pippin be knowing shit, man. This game is the all-seeing eye, you dig? And see, that's another thing too, right? You mentioned confidence. Uh and how how you let it not affect your confidence. See, we oftentimes confuse confidence with self-esteem, and I've talked about this many times before, right? Don't confuse your confidence with self-esteem. Confidence is, you know, when you feel a certain type of way about your ability to do something, right? Like if you know how to dance and you dance real good, you know what I mean? You feel confident about your ability to dance. If you're good at playing basketball, then you'll be confident about your basketball skills on the court, right? But see, you could be a good dancer, a good basketball player, a good writer, all these different things, and be confident within those things, all while still having a low self-esteem, right? So, how is that? Because even though you might be confident about certain things, you still might not feel good about yourself as a human being, as a person, right? That just remind me like this 1304 that I had, right? I think I told y'all about this bitch before, right? Oh man. So it was this 304 that I had, right? And she was real like, quiet and meek and like not very outspoken, just like kind of head down. She was like real like just timid like that, right? And she had a baby daddy, right, that had left her right before she got with me. Her baby daddy had left her for, as she said, this fat white girl, right? And the chick who I'm talking about, she was let's just say Latina, right? But her baby daddy had left her for this fat white girl, right? And she was on the phone with her friend one time. She was in the kitchen. I'm in the living room sitting on the couch. And she in the kitchen talking to her friend. And she like, yeah, girl, he left me for that fat bitch, that fat white bitch. Wooty, 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 whoop, right? So I'm just joking with her. And I was like, yeah, the fat white bitch probably got some fire ass head. And I seen a side of her that I hadn't seen yet. You know what I mean? Like, I saw some confidence. See, I hadn't seen no confidence from this chick yet. You know what I mean? When I said, I was like, yeah, the fat white girl, man, she probably got some fire ass head over there. All the confidence came out. Like, I seen a side of her that I had never seen. She was like, fire head? She was like, no, I got that. That's me. I'm the one with the fire head. Like, her head can't fuck with mine. Wooty, wooty, woo. She started popping it on me, man. She was like, yeah. And mind you, at the time, she was probably about 30, something like that. She was like, yeah. She started really popping it, man. Like, she was like, yeah, I'm the one with the fire head. She was like, yeah, I still got dudes from high school talking about my head. We'll do it. So I was like, now mind you, at this time, I didn't know nothing about her head. You know what I mean? I hadn't experienced the head yet. You know what I mean? So I'm just believing this is cap. You know what I mean? I'm like, your head is fire, whatever. Yeah, right. So one day, I got to see what that head was about. And she wasn't capping. She wasn't capping at all, man. The bitch head was everything that she said it was, man. Like for real though. Like the bitch head was fire, you know what I mean? Head game was A1, you know what I mean? Highly recommend, you dig? Yeah, but I say all that to say, while she had all this confidence in her head game, her self-esteem was still very low, right? Because look at yeah, your doctor say from high school, damn. Look, you trying to see where she at? You like, damn, her niggas from high school talking about her head, man. Where this bitch at, man? I got to see. I don't know, man. She's somewhere on the West Coast, man. I don't know where she at. This is over 10 years ago when I'm talking about, you know what I mean? But yeah, she's somewhere on the West Coast. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, man. So, but like I said though, she had all this confidence in her head game, but she still had a low self-esteem though, right? And that's kind of where eventually where her and I start falling off because, you know, I was doing my best to help build her self-esteem, but she, you know, just her self-esteem was just like really, really down in the dumps. Expose the truth. Said, what's the IGP? Man, y'all getting off track, man. Y'all making the bitch head game bigger than the story, man. Like, stay focused, man. Like, yeah, okay, you know, her head game was fire. Okay, all right, man. Like, let's stay focused, man. Oh, shit. Y'all got me. I'm finna text the bitch after this live over with talking about, hey, big head. Oh, I'm finna send the bitch a hey, big head text. You know what I mean? But nah. Oh shit, funny as hell. Matter of fact, I got another funny ass story with that bitch, right? See, you know, this is an example of being the truth, man. You know, I ain't ashamed of nothing, man. I ain't got nothing to hide though, right? So I remember one time this same bitch, right? Her and my other peoples had went to work together, right? And when they had came back around me, my other peoples, she wasn't going to volunteer this information to me, right? But the one with the fire head, that's what we going to call her for the sake of the story, firehead. So the other one, she wasn't going to tell me, right? But firehead was like, she's like, Daddy, I got to tell you something. I'm like, what's up? She's like, well, when me and my wifey was at the trap room, you know, we was there and, you know, we was talking and one thing led to another. And then, you know, we ended up doing whoopty whoop. Basically, they end up licking on each other. You know what I mean? They got freaky with each other, right? So, and that's why the other one didn't want to tell me. See, the other one had been with me longer, so she know my program, right? So she know that, you know, I ain't with that, right? So that's why I know she wasn't gonna tell me. But the other one, firehead, she was like, yeah, you know, I just want to tell you because, you know, she's like, that's one thing about me. I ain't gonna keep nothing from you. Wooty wooty whoop. Like, okay, bitch, yeah, right, all right, right. So, you know, so what I end up doing, the one who had been with me, of course, I, you know, chopped her up verbally, you know what I mean, gave her this verbal ginsu, and then I made her walk back to the trap room and spend the night over there, right? Now, the trap room was like probably, it was about Turkish shit and all that, right? And I'm just sitting there like, I'm trying to act like I ain't enjoying this shit, but I'm in my head like this punk ass bitch. You know what I mean? Man, so I'm sitting there like, And she just down there going to work, and I'm just. so then, so then, after going to work for a little second down there, the bitch gonna look up at me. She gonna stop and look up at me, and she like, "You still mad at me?" Oh man, I wanted to punch that bitch, but I couldn't, man, because the head was just so fire, man. I wanted to punch. I wanted to Ryukin. I wanted to Ryukin that bitch, man. But the head was so damn fire. The bitch gonna look up at me like, "You still mad at me?" I ain't even say nothing to her. Like I just turned my head like. And she just kept going to work, man. But I couldn't stop the bitch, you know what I mean? Like, it was like kryptonite with Superman, you know what I mean? I was weak, you know what I mean? Oh, man. Yeah, that punk ass bitch, though, man. That shit was funny as hell. I can look back at it and laugh now. Sexy Slim, if you didn't hear the story, then you gonna have to catch it on the replay because I know it's there. You know what I mean? Because some people was able to hear it, and some people, I guess, like yourself, wasn't. But yeah, you just gonna have to catch it on the replay, man. But yeah, that shit was funny as hell though. Bitch gonna do all that shit, knowing I'm mad at the bitch. You know what I mean? I ain't talking to the bitch. You know, and then gonna stop in the middle and look up, talking about, "You still mad at me?" Oh man, 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 man. Oh, you said you all missed it? I don't think you all missed it though, man. Damn, I guess all of y'all didn't hear that shit. Damn. Damn, boy. I'm trying to see, did any of y'all catch the whole story? Did anybody hear the whole story? I'm just curious. Somebody let me know if y'all heard the whole story, man. Damn, he said we all missed it. I seen somebody say start from where you made her walk. Okay. And the man said he heard the whole story. Lojo said he heard it on IG. Running back. Nah, I started buffering. I low key did catch it myself. Exposing the truth. Okay. So it's a lot of y'all that didn't hear the shit, man. So I'm gonna run it back, man. Damn. Damn, I hope it don't get to tripping again, man. Cause it's some funny ass shit, so I gotta run it back for y'all. Oh, Sylvia said she heard it. Damn, I guess only a few of y'all was able to hear the shit, man. So I know you'll be able to catch it on the replay. Yeah, y'all just gonna have to catch it on the replay, man. Hassan Michael said he heard the whole story. Yeah, man, y'all just gonna have to. So did you fire her for breaking your rule? Nah, I didn't fire neither one of them, man. Cause the one, she had been with me for, yeah, by that time I think, yeah, by that time she had been with me for some years, man. So I didn't fire her for that, even though she knew better. See, that wasn't something that was like, fire worthy. You know what I mean? Now I will fire a bitch, but that right there, that wasn't something that I would have fired over, especially like it happened just one time. I could see if it was just like a thing, they just wouldn't stop and they just kept on doing it. But it wasn't like that though. Fierce Soul said that head though. Yeah, man, that head, man, that head was like kryptonite, man. But yeah, man. Yeah, y'all just gonna have to catch it on the replay, man, which I'm gonna wrap it up in just a minute. But yeah, that shit was funny as hell. Mr. Clear said he heard it. Simone on the microphone says you on TikTok. Yeah, I'm on TikTok under the same, just like how you spell freezes it on my on the YouTube channel right here. If you go on TikTok and search the same thing, freezes it, you'll find me on there. Tyler, good looking with the $2 holler. International. Yeah, man. International with it, man. Frank Zone, what's up with it, man? Freeze, what it do? What it do, man? Love from Memphis, bro. Appreciate you, man. I'll go out and come back in next time and watch the replay. Yeah, see, the replay is smooth. I don't know why it does that for certain people, but like, cause the other day it was doing that. The other day, some of y'all was saying I kept freezing and shit like that, or my audio would go mute. But I went back and watched that live, and it was smooth. Like, so, I don't know. It's probably, I bet you, I'm willing to bet the people that shit is happening to, y'all a bunch of iPhone motherfuckers, man. See, y'all need to throw them iPhones away, man. I bet you. Let me see a poll. How can I word this poll to see if or y'all just say, man, okay, if it's anybody who was able to watch it all and hear that story all the way through, and you got an iPhone, let it be known. And then for those of y'all who wasn't able to hear it and you got an iPhone, let it be known. I bet you all y'all people that couldn't hear that shit, y'all got iPhones, man. Tell you these them iPhones, man, they be on bullshit sometimes. Look at Jody Killer said, nah, it's them Androids. Watch this though, Jody Killer. Did you hear the whole story though? Did you hear the whole story? Okay, Simone said she heard it and she's on the MacBook Pro. iPhone. But did you hear it though? It damn near is an iPhone issue. See, keeping it P with P, he gonna keep it real. You know what I mean? Android, right here. But y'all gotta say if you was able to hear it though. Don't just say what kind of phone you got, but also let it be known if you heard the whole story or not. Unable to hear iPhone life, right? Galaxy 26 and it froze. I guess maybe it ain't just an iPhone then. No bullshit, iPhones be on one. Supposed to said, nah, I don't got an iPhone and couldn't hear it at all. Oh, so maybe I can't blame just the iPhones then. I heard the whole story. Actually, I'm on Droid. Yeah, see? Yeah. Andre Brown got that Android, you know what I mean? And see, I'm watching it on my Android and it ain't freezing on me. Even though I got obviously the audio down, but I would have been able to see if it would have froze. iPhone and it was tripping. iPhone trash. iPhone didn't hear. Android, no, I didn't hear the whole story. Only partial story. So I guess it don't really matter. It is the Colombian internet, P. Nah, cause I'm on the Colombian internet and it was smooth on my end, you know. But whatever the case, one thing I do know is that, like last time, for those of y'all who couldn't hear it in real time, on the replay, you'll be able to hear it. You did? And hold on. Erroneous E, good looking with the $10 holla. Appreciate the game, P. Appreciate you as well, man. For real, for real. Oh, it's all right. I enjoy chopping it up with you. Sexy Slim, you already know it's always a pleasure. I have a Motorola and I heard it. Yeah, man. You ain't got that iPhone. That's why you heard it. It's the power of that Android, you dig? Supposedly, man, your Android might be like mixed. You got a mixed breed Android, supposedly, Prince. Your Android got like it must got like some iPhone chips in it or something like that. It might have been made with some. You got a bootleg, man. You probably got that phone from downtown LA, man. That shit got some iPhone parts in it. You know. You got a hybrid phone over there, man. Paisa sold you that Android. The Paisa was like Galaxy 26. Oh man. Jolene, good looking with the $5 holla. Can you be a trick and still be considered the truth? Of course. You could be a trick and still be a man, can't you? Just because you a trick don't make you not a man. And a man is the truth. So yeah, you know. Just like you got people that claim to be a pimp, but they not the truth. You can be a trick and you can still be the truth. You know? So yeah, that ain't nothing that's gonna affect that. Chill low, good looking with the $5 holla. Freeze, at what age do you feel life started clicking for you? Clicking for me as far as what? Uh, I don't know. I just, I've been going through ups, downs, and turnarounds, throughout life, but I feel like I get better with time, for sure. Yeah, I feel like I definitely get better with time. Right, T9 Get Up says they used to do it to Sinful all the time. Anytime the game get good, YouTube start messing up the live. Yeah, I guess I could blame it on YouTube instead of Android, iPhone, or the Wi-Fi. Yeah. CEO said he says, what advice can you give to someone who's 30, no kids, no girlfriend, just working, trying to move out? Uh, it depends on what you want to do with your life, or not even necessarily what you want to do with your life, but what do you want out of life? Like, do you want a girlfriend? Do you want kids? Uh, do you want something else? I know you said you're trying to move out, so obviously you want a place. But what do you want out of life? Because a place is cool, but you can get a place and still be unfulfilled. So Whatever the case, man, you should want fulfillment in your life. You know, now that's a beautiful status to have. To be 30 years old with no kids. But you should want fulfillment in your life. You know, like some sort of purpose to your life. Man, Miyagi, what's up with it, man? Top of it. Blessings to you as well. Clicking as far as being your most disciplined. Well, speaking of 30, I would say at 30 is when I started becoming drastically more disciplined. But, I was able to do that because I kind of had that in me already. But my perspective on things started to change when I turned 30. So, therefore, as my perspective changed on things, I became more disciplined. And even now, I'm still becoming more and more disciplined. Like, again, ain't no such thing as perfect. So, I'm not perfectly disciplined, but I'm pretty well disciplined. I done came a long way. But at 30, that's when I started becoming more disciplined. Like I said, my perspective changed on things. I started because I was turning 30. So my mindset was at that time was that, I want to come into my 30s better than I was in my 20s. Right. And one thing that influenced my mindset was the men in my family. Right. Now, one thing I knew for sure is that I didn't want to be unhealthy and I didn't want to be out of shape. And I noticed, because like I said, I grew up with 10 uncles, and I noticed that most of them started becoming overweight when they was in their 30s. They all was slim when they was young. Like when I would see pictures of them, and some of them, I could remember when they was in their 20s. Some of them was like older, and I wasn't around when they was in their 20s. But the ones who I could remember when they was in their 20s, they was slim, and then the ones before my time, I seen pictures, and all of my uncles was slim when they was in their 20s. But then the majority of them start getting overweight once they hit their 30s. And by the time they hit their 40s, a lot of them got diabetes and high blood pressure and, all these health issues and shit like that, right? So when I'm coming into my 30s, this is what I'm thinking about. I'm like, shit, this is my bloodline. So, if I'm not careful, I'll end up just like them, you know? So, and then now, here it is now, out of 10 uncles, I only got 2 left. And coincidentally, ironically, the 2 uncles that I have left historically have been the healthiest ones that I know of, especially my oldest uncle. My oldest uncle is one of the ones that I got left. He's the oldest out of everybody, out of my uncles. And he's always been like super healthy. Like he eat good. He's 70 something, damn near 80 years old. He still do, or he might be 80 now. Yeah, damn, I'm tripping. Yeah, Uncle is 80 years old now. But at 80 years old, he still get up and do push-ups every morning. You know what I mean? Still real active and shit like that. Vietnam vet. And, that's what I want to be like. I remember one of my other uncles who done passed away now. But when my grandma was sick and we was in the hospital visiting her, my other uncle was telling me about my oldest uncle that's still here. And at that time, they was in their probably late 60s, almost 70, right? Both of them. And this is my Uncle James that I was having this conversation with. My uncle brother is the oldest one that's still here, but my Uncle James was telling me about my uncle brother. And he was like, man, at the age that we are right now, he was like, I've never seen your uncle brother sick. Never. I've never seen him with the cold. I've never seen him with the flu. I've never seen him get sick. And that shit, I always remember that shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, damn, Unc is taking excellent care of himself to not ever catch a cold or the flu. And he like at that time he was like almost 70, if not 70. You know, I'm trying to be like that. So, but I say all that to say, yeah, you know, one thing that changed my perspective was that I wanted to be healthier coming into my 30s. You know, so that's when I stopped drinking. That's when I stopped eating fried food. And then shortly after that, shortly after I turned, probably like maybe 6 months after I turned 30, is when I started working out and made fitness a part of my lifestyle. And then gradually over time, I just start, you know, getting better and better with how I ate. And here I am. So yeah. Right, like Prolific Trips say, elder people who still take care of themselves is inspiring to me. Hey, you and me both, man. That's something that's like, see, I try to keep that type of stuff in my algorithm on social media, right? And a lot of those videos pop up in my algorithm on Instagram, right? And YouTube as well. Uh like I seen this dude, he lives in Arizona. This man is 104 years old and he's an archer. Like he does archery with bows and arrows and shit like that. And he goes to competitions and uh this man is 104 years old and does archery. Still move around on his own, like talk real coherent and clear. Like he said he was 104 years old, but you would think he was probably like in his 70s or something. Like this dude took excellent care of himself, man. And that's the type of shit I be inspired by that shit too, for real. That shit inspires me as well, man. Seeing older people like still like even out here, that's one thing I love about Colombia too, right? Hey man, everybody walks out here. The majority of people walk out here. Like some people have cars and shit like that, but even the people that have cars do a lot of walking. Like people walk out here. And within people walking out here, a lot of times you'll see elderly people walking up hills, walking for miles, and they be like 80 years old. For real. Like some of them be walking with their cane. Some of them walk without a cane. They be walking together in groups and shit like that, but like it be some elderly people out here walking. And they don't be overweight. They be, you know, slim. You know, like it ain't like in the United States, man. I hate to say it, but a lot of our elderly people in the United States, they be overweight. They be having a bunch of health problems that they shouldn't have. They ain't nearly as active as they should be. But yeah, that's one thing I like out here. Adrian said, man, archery will have your shoulders looking right. Yeah, this man was 104, 104 Robin Hood ass. For real, man. This man, I seen him on Instagram the other day, man. He was in Vegas. He lived in Arizona though. But he had went to Vegas for like an archery tournament or some shit like that. And they showed him he had the bow and arrow and he was fucking with that shit. And I was just like, damn. You got to have some, and I was just thinking about that. I ain't never really fucked with archery like that, but I know you got to have some strength to be able to like pull that bow back and aim steady and hit your target and all of that. Like, I know that ain't no just easy shit. And for him to be doing that at 104 years old, he's in excellent shape. Not just for his age, but just period. CEO said he says, I had a sugar mama, but she blew up. She blew up on me. P, the older ones are not different from the ones my age. She asked me, what are we? And I didn't know how to respond to that. I said, shit, we friends. Oh, man. See, this is what I mean by a well-placed truth is better than a lie, but still, at the end of the day, you still being the truth. I would have flipped it on her like, and see, I know sometimes, man, when you young, like you 30 years old, sometimes younger cats be intimidated by older women. But you still got to be a man at the end of the day. Don't be a boy toy. And see, it sounded like you was a boy toy just by the fact that you was calling her a sugar mama. You calling her a sugar mama, then most likely you was a boy toy. But, just on some man shit, I would have flipped it around on her like, what do you think we are? Because for her to ask you, what are we? She obviously wants you to say something that's going to make her feel important to you. She going to say something. She wants you to say something that's going to make her feel valued by you. Me, I would have flipped it on her like, what do you think we are? And then, depending on what was said, I would have just came at her like, look, baby, we grown. You know what I mean? Do you think I'm going to be there for you if you need me? You think I'm going to hold you down if you need me to? If you're in a crisis situation or you need to be protected or helped or anything like that, you think I'm going to be there for you? Are you going to be there for me if I need you to hold me down in any kind of way? Okay, then we, that's all that matters. You can call that whatever you want to call it, but as long as we know what it is, it doesn't matter what we call it. You know what we got going on, just like I know what we got going on. So, if you're looking for some type of label like, sweetheart or lovers or whatever you want to call it, then hey, you can call it whatever you want to call it. But me, I don't have a label for it. I just know what it is. I know how I feel about you. I know what you mean to me. And to me, that's all that matters. You know what I mean? So, but like I said, man, you was on some boy toy shit. You was on some Marcus, darling. You over there had you a Lady Eloise over there, huh? Lady Eloise was trying to get her groove back with you, man. Oh, man. Ain't nothing wrong with, man, having you a little a Lady Eloise, man, but be a man about it at the end of the day, though. You still got to be a man. For real. Old bitch came to you one day like, I don't have any panties on. You done introduced her to your mama. Y'all sit down having dinner with moms and shit. She come whisper in your ear like, I don't have any panties on. Oh, shit. But it's all good, though, man. She ain't the only Lady Eloise out here, man. Shit. You a young man, you 30 years old, and you ain't got no kids, man. You got it made. Shit. I wouldn't even be tripping on her. You know what I mean, Lady Eloise as it is out there, man. Shit. If that's what you want, man, shit, it's a whole bunch of them. You know? For real. But yeah, man, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this thing on up. Let's see before we go, make sure everything good. Okay. Shout out all the supers. Yeah, man, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this thing on up, man. As always, I appreciate you for tuning in and tapping in with a pimp. I appreciate you for sharing this video. I appreciate all the questions, comments, input, jokes, feedback, all that good stuff. I appreciate you for subscribing and hitting the bell when you subscribe. I appreciate all the super chats, the cash apps, the PayPals. I appreciate your support in every which way that you comes with it. Y'all already know who it is and what it is. Freeze is it. If you out in traffic moving around, please do so in a safe fashion. And of course, as always, long live the incomparable Sinful to P. We out.